Alright, so I get this question a lot. People say, Curtis, how do I know what to charge for something? If I'm going to sell something to a restaurant or I'm going to sell it to a farmer's market, how do I know what to charge? So I've got some things I've learned over the years that I'll share with you coming up next on The Urban Farmer. So there's a couple things to take into consideration when you're trying to figure out what you want to charge. The first thing you want to figure out is what is the common price for that particular thing. So say you're trying to figure out what to charge for a bunch of beets. So a really easy way to figure out what is the common price is just go to a grocery store and look in the produce aisle. That simple, not kidding you. Next thing is go to a farmer's market, see what that same product at a market is worth. Then see what that same product is offered when it's certified organic. So you might have 3 price points there. So the next thing you can do is just go to, if you're going to sell to a restaurant, just go to a chef that you want to sell to and simply ask them point blank, what's your price point? What do you normally pay for this product? Just be honest. Just be totally honest and just ask them that, and you'd be surprised how many people will be happy to share that information with you. So from there, that's your starting point. Now, at this point, you need to figure out what it costs you to produce that product, and that's not necessarily as easy to do as somebody might think it is, because there's a lot of factors there. The best way I would use to do this is to figure out what a bed of that product will generate in revenue if you can sell it at price X, and what the input costs will be regarding the seed, and if there's any compost in there. All those input costs, labor and things like that are a little bit trickier to figure out as far as what you charge for on the field. But it's easy to figure out what you can charge for it, or what your costs are when you're going to wash and bunch that product, because you're pretty much on the meter there. So we harvest beets from the field. That might have taken, let's say we harvested 50 bunches of beets and it took us half an hour. Okay, so there's our starting point. If we're paying somebody this much per hour to generate that much, divide that up per unit, you'll get a base price. From there, it's the same when you're washing and packing. Just monitor your time, figure out a base price on or a base cost for that, and then price up from there. So once you figure out some of those metrics, take that and subtract it from the price that you would like to sell it for, and then split the difference, and then there you have your margin. So that's the easiest way to figure out. But the thing is to keep in mind is that prices aren't static. They're very dynamic. And since I've traveled to a few different countries now, and I'm kind of a nerd when I do this, I actually go into grocery stores and farmers markets and co-op stores, and I always look at prices. So right now I'm in New Zealand, and I've been doing that all across this country. And I found a lot of correlation between prices in Canada, prices in the US, and prices in New Zealand. So keep in mind that these are all countries that use a dollar, right? So there's a New Zealand dollar, Canadian dollar, US dollar. I've found across the US, across Canada, across New Zealand, prices are very similar. For example, a cup of coffee down here in New Zealand will cost you around $3.50, $4. Same in Canada, in Canadian dollars, relatively the same in the US, in US dollars. Yes, there's going to be differentials in various different places, but that's going to be the same even within a country itself. The prices you're going to pay in New York City, Manhattan, than you're going to pay in Memphis, Tennessee, might be totally different. So those are the things you have to keep in mind, that they're always dynamic and they're always changing. What you need to consider is, what are your costs? What's your cost of living? What does it cost to run your farm? What does it cost to produce the product that you're going to sell? All those things considered is going to give you a good framework for what you can charge, what you can feel confident about charging. But really, just go out and do some basic market research. Go out into the marketplace and see what people are charging for things. That's really what it comes down to. So if you found that useful, please hit the subscribe button right now, and please like and share these videos with your friends.